the second economically, so that you really can't function. Nobody will trust you because they've cut off everything from you. They've took and put a rope around you and hung you economically and hung your character. You know, Goebbels, who was one of
Hitler's minister of propaganda.
what did he say, boys?
He said, when you tell a lie, tell a big, big, big lie. And keep telling that big, big, big lie. And at first people are going to say, oh, that's a lie. But if you keep telling that big, big, big lie, folks going to say, you know, it may be true. And that's how they used to play games. See, folks have to understand this as well.
Yes, sir.
The folks in this town, the Scum Times, or the Sun Times, you call it, they get over $10 million from this administration.
Wow, I didn't know that.
The Tribune gets $7 million.
No, 13.
13 of the some say they cut it down, but they get 13 million. Times get 10 million.
And the Defender?
Yeah, the offender. Oh, I'm sorry. The Defender used to get
Yes,
3
sir.
million.
When I was elected official, the first thing I did, I went down there, they didn't know me. And I told the purchasing agent I was a student doing a study on what media magazines and et cetera, when they put ads and classified ads from the city. And I wanted to know, since I'm doing the study, I need to know what the Sun Times, the Tribune, and the Defender, and they told me.
Correct.
Back then, it was 11 million for the Tribune. It
Right.
was 9 million, and then at that time, the Defender was getting like about 3 or 4 million.
And they disguise it under the rules of advertisement. My point is, if I'm paying you, if I'm giving you $10 million, you're going to do exactly what I tell you to do. So you may hear stories about Daly and those other folks. It may flash for about 2 or 3 days and then it goes under. But what's so dangerous about what the Supreme Court just ruled on 2 days ago,
What did they rule on?
the Supreme Court says that the corporations, or you can spend as much money on a candidate as you want to spend on to make him run for office. Now, they haven't factored in that foreign governments can spend money. You know, it used to be the rules 2,500, et cetera, et cetera. The Supreme Court says it's their right to spend as much money as they want to on anyone they want to.
Because it's a denial of free speech.
Correct. Somebody they deny them free speech. Now, the common folk at home who wants to make a difference in their community, they won't stand a chance.
Well, they said that a corporation was like a citizen. But we know something called a straw man.
That's right.
A straw man is a fictitious person.
Correct.
And a corporation is a straw man.
Right.
Which is a fictitious person. It's not a real person. So they vote by putting their money in, and then they go home and they go and vote at the polling place.
And just let me add before you move on. Congress used to control the corporations because they gave them the tax rates and they told the rules. Now, with this Supreme Court new law, now the rich folks, the corporations, is going to control Congress. But they've been controlling Congress all the time. They just made it legit.
You know, like you refer to the Sun Times as the Scum Times.
Right.
You know what? We, all three of us, come on the radio. We come on the internet. Okay, the character assassination against Dorothy Brown, Stroger, Mr. Kilpatrick, who was, I think, a mayor, governor. How do we, as individuals, you know, we have access to the media, how do we do battle against someone that has millions to combat that? And they have butted a million. We may barely just be getting by.
You know, I heard somebody say the truth shall roll down like a mighty water. You keep telling the facts. You keep pounding the truth. And that truth gonna cut through all of that baloney. The same way everything that's a lie is being exposed now.
Well, let me give you an example.
Go ahead.
In this situation where they had Harold Washington telling the truth about what he thought about someone who's in politics right now.
Correct.
And what he thought about it.
Pat Quinn, okay.
All right, and then
the current governor.
That person turned around and accused a son of a former politician that he was a party to the first party that they were setting up.
They had set up.
They had set up.
So
now,
those folks at home, though, explain what that first party was
The
all
first
about.
party was a party that was outside of the Democratic Party so they could run a candidate against Harold Washington
On the second term.
on the second term. However, if you subtract the age of that candidate who's running against Quinn, Dan Hines, you would find that Hines at the time, all right, that was 23 years ago. He's 41 years old now.
Yes.
So he would have had to be 18 years old. I wish my son would come in and tell me something about what I ought to do. And he's 18 years old.
But you also look, Thomas Hines was one of the ringleaders with the Podoli Act 29.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, so can we apply that same logic to the real Mayor Daley versus Daley Light?
I understand what you
Yes,
said.
you can.
Okay.
You know, in the state senate, Michael Madigan has so much.
The state House of
Representatives, he has so much power.
Yes.
Why do the representatives give him so much power to overwhelm them to make them vote?
The same way that the Supreme Court just ruled, if you're paying the money, you call it shots. Or if you got a foul on one of these chumps. You know, if you got a foul on them where they've been getting little kickbacks and what have you. So, see, what's so dangerous about it is that you got a foul on these people, or a made-up foul.
Okay.
Or two, you was the person who put the money up for them to run for the office.
You know,
The question is, how many aldermen in Chicago was appointed by Richard Daley?
over half of them.
Over half of them.
Well, there's something very interesting, boys, here, and I always remind people of that. When you go back in time, all right, you find out that Mayor Daley's father, when he died, the day he died, if you go back and get the news clip, you will see that Richard M. Daley, who's the present mayor, and his brother Michael drove up in the limousine in front of City Hall.
Correct.
They rolled out
The file.